Good evening. I'm going to call to order the City of Asbury Park workshop meeting. We'll go to City Manager's report on issues raised at prior meetings.
None at this time.
Special events, Leisha.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The majority of these events are returning from previous years. We begin with the Friday night dance. Next is the Lobster Run 2019, annual Easter pageant, 8th annual restaurant tour, New Jersey Brain Tumor Walk, Asbury Park Summer Games. This would be a new event. Walk MS. New Jersey Casa 5K. The Brew Hop 5K and Craft Beer Festival, which is a new event. Shoreline Heart Walk. St. Patrick's Day Parade. Community Easter Egg Hunt. The Tutu Run. Run-a-Palooza. Take Steps for Crohn's and Colitis Foundation Walk, Asbury Fresh, and lastly is Asbury Alive. And we have 12 wedding applications for 2019 so far. Are there any questions on any of the events?
I had a question on the Asbury Park Summer Games,
Okay.
and they want to close Ocean Avenue.
That's actually not going to happen. The Special Events Committee met with this applicant, and Ocean Avenue will not be closed.
Okay.
I have a question about the St. Patrick's Parade.
Okay.
It ends here in City Hall parking lot. What's going on with the road project? It won't be down this far at that point, will it?
It will be. We're waiting for a revised and updated schedule. We've been told just yesterday that DOT is actually going to be upgrading the sewer laterals. So that might delay some of the road improvements as they do the sewer laterals. We don't know their scheduling. The engineer and director of transportation have been trying to figure it out. So that far along, I have no idea.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
We move on to our presentation for the Lead Safe Home Remediation Pilot Program.
There you come.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Ina Scheller, and I'm Program Manager at Community Affairs and Resource Center here in Asbury Park at Sewell Avenue. For those of you that don't know us, we provide a wide range of social services to the community in Asbury Park and also the entire Monmouth County. I am here today because I wanted to present our lead remediation program. That is a grant that we have from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. We've been having it for several years now. And this is a grant where we are allowed to educate people about the dangers of lead in the home and also have financial funding to actually remediate lead in homes. We have this grant in the counties of Monmouth, Ocean, and Atlantic, and there are 7 other agencies statewide that has other counties and other cities. So most of the state is covered. For those areas that don't have their own agency covering, we are also able to reach out and work with them. What this basically is we can provide up to $12,000. That's the average amount that we have to spend to make a home lead safe. And basically what this is meant to do is to be a preventative measure, meaning address homes that there's still not a poison lead, a child that has lead poisoning. We know for sure that in many cases, when the child has elevated lead level, the health department gets involved and there's issued a notice of violation. where there's more specific measures that needs to be done in the home. We also can provide up to 10% of the funding we have for those cases, which we right now have exhausted or are working with the final cases. But for the rest of the funding, the 90%, we can go into homes that qualify and help them make it lead safe, meaning basically address this is all in houses that was built before 1978, which was the year that lead in paint was banned. So, you know, even though the house has been repainted since 1978, we know that specifically with window doors, a home that is used where there's children and family live, we know that the old paint is exposed. And we also know that these old paint, what the damages it can do to a child when it comes to the development mentally and also physically. For example, problems in school, learning, and so on. So in these houses built before 1978, we can go in and we can do a risk assessment and find where this lead exposure happens. And we have a pool of contractors that will bid for the job, and that way we can help the family in the home. I keep saying families because, of course, that's the main target and that's the goal of the state, to first and foremost prevent childhood lead poisoning, but we can also help families or even single persons living in a household. It could be seniors. We had a lot of cases as well where there's grandparents living in the home that has a grandchild coming visiting, for example, so they can also qualify. The main eligibility criteria is the income of the people living in the home. So it could be renters, and in that case we will go by the income of the family that's renting, or it could be a homeowner. And we have actually seen, of all the cases we've completed so far, I would say we have worked with 70% homeowners that actually also qualify. We will pass around this brochure, and you can see there that the income requirement is for families that have up to 80% of median income in the county would qualify. So it's not only really, really low income, it's also families that may have okay income but still struggling and wouldn't be able to address the lead necessarily and do the necessary renovations. So we're going to pass this around. Besides from the income requirement, the current grant that we're having, we can only help families that live in a one-family or two-family homes, meaning, unfortunately, apartment buildings is not included in this current grant. We also had some application from a home where there's 3 units that we so far just keep on file because the DCA has said that this is going to be a continuous grant, and in the future they want to open up to larger buildings. So in that case, we're hoping to, so we are not turning away these families that approaches us, we keep a list.
When you say apartments, you mean condos too?
Yeah, like buildings that have more basically, because right now it's just one family or two family homes, like a duplex.
Gotcha.
And in that case, we need to qualify both families, both units, and then we can address both. That's how it works. So we are currently at the end of the first cycle of this program, but we are performing, and DCA has said that more money will be issued or be granted to this program. So we've been here. We've been in this lead area, so to say. We're having these types of grant for several years. It started with some Sandy funding for victims of Sandy years ago, and now we currently have this program, and this is going to be a continuous effort. We're very pleased that we signed an MOU with the City of Asbury Park, so we hope to receive referrals, and we want to help as many as possible. When they issued the RFP for this grant statewide, they had put they wanted to focus on the 10 hotspots in the state of New Jersey where most children were lead poisoned. Mammoth County didn't have any of the 10, but for example, Asbury Park was not too low on the list. So Asbury Park has been a focus area, and we really hope to, with the funding we have left, to address more homes here. So we encourage everybody to either enroll, directly contact us, or if you want to invite us, if you have a church or organizations, that we can spread the word and educate about the dangers of lead, to please do so. All our contact is in this brochure here. Yeah?
So is there a fee for a resident to get an assessment from you?
No, so the thing is, as soon as we qualify income-wise and is built before 1978 and is in a 1 to 2 unit building, then everything is free. Well, the risk assessment is free, and then when we see the amount of work that needs to be done and we bid it out to our pool of contractors, if that's within the money we have available, then it's free. In some cases, if we go above that amount, we talk to the owner or the landlord, and they can chip in maybe $1,000. We had those cases as well. But the idea is that this is free if you qualify, as long as there's enough money to do all the job that is required.
Nice.
Do you remove the lead paint or paint over?
Yeah, so that's a very important question, and that leads back to what I said. In some cases, when there's a notice of violation from the health department, meaning that the child already has elevated lead level, then you need to do what it's called abatement, and that's a specific, more thoroughly method where you actually, remove the lead, at least in some parts of the house. You can also enclose and do other things, but at least make sure that, the lead is not exposed again in a year or so. When we do it for the 90% of our funding, it's called lead stabilization or remediation. And what we do is a method called wet scraping and repainting. That's what the contractors we have are trained to do. That's like the easiest, lightest method. Many cases, if we have a 40-year-old window and it's in such a bad condition that it doesn't really make sense to scrape and repaint it, we can also, remove and replace. So it's really up to the risk assessor we have hired to do the best recommendations. But that's why we use the terms lead safe, meaning that it's not necessarily removed, but it's contained, so it's not, exposed to the children and to the family in the home. So it's both.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Matters by the city manager.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Recreation has been contacted by a few individuals who are interested in starting a formalized beach volleyball league, renting space off the city beaches. This would legally be a concession, which we would recommend competitive contracting. There's no decision determination needed tonight. This is only for discussion purposes if the governing body is actually interested in doing this. We would obviously want to restrict, if this moves forward, the space that can be used as our beaches get more and more crowded. But again, tonight is just for informational services, sources, and we'll talk more about it in the next meeting or two.
Review of agenda items.
Resolution 2019-59 is approving special event applications. Resolution 2019 is to waive interest due to an error in a pilot billing for 1501 Ocean Avenue, Unit 2204. 2019-61 is the submission and an acceptance of a grant application for the Cops and Shops College Fall Initiative and Summer Shore Initiative. This is where we put police officers in various establishments throughout the city, paid for through this grant. 2019-62 is appointment to the Business Advisory Committee, and 2019-63 is rejecting bids for the 2019 printing services. As the city had gone over the bid threshold in 2018, we have to go out for bid to bid for printing services. All the respondents are deemed ineligible as they did not include the required language that there is no ethics charges filed against them. That's required as part of our MOU, so we have to reject all the bids and go back out. Is there any questions on consent agenda items? Moving forward to the individual resolutions, 2019-64 is a temporary budget. 2019-65 is the resolution payment of bills. 2019-66 is a professional service contract for appraisal services for the Ottawa Group. This is for an appraisal at the land commonly known as Bradley Cove. Resolution 2019-67 approves waiving fees as per the abandoned and vacant property code. Under the city's existing code, if someone is in their second year of trying to abate a property, the governing body can waive those fees. The statute citation is in this resolution, and staff is recommending that this be waived. Resolution 2019-68 is change order number 5 for the Springwood Avenue Park Professional Services to Suburban Contracting. This is for final design of the proposed sunshade along with lighting trusses for installation. They've met with myself, Councilwoman Clayton, and Councilwoman Chapman to try to hone down this. And then after this is approved, they'll start the design. 2019-69 is a extended warranty for the parking play stations. 2019-70 is an appointment to the Public Arts Commission. And 2019-71 is the bureaucratic issuance of the certificate of completion for the Fifth Avenue Pavilion. Is there any questions on the individual resolutions?
No, it's Asbury Hotel.
I'm sorry, Asbury Hotel, my fault. Moving on to public hearings for the public hearing for second reading of ordinance 2019-1. This amends the street performers under chapter 4, section 15, to require background checks for anyone obtaining a license and an appeal process therein. This will be for public comment later tonight.
There's also 2 ordinances for introduction.
2 ordinances for introduction, amending and supplementing Chapter 13, abandoned and vacant properties, and a sale of property commonly referred to as 1322 Springwood Avenue, in which the Director of Planning briefed everyone on at the last meeting. Any questions on those ordinances? That's it.
All right, we'll move on to matters by City Council.
So the Asbury Park Little League has open registration in every Saturday in City Hall lobby from 12 noon until 2 p.m. Registration is free to all Asbury Park residents between the ages of 5 and 15. You just need to bring a copy of a birth certificate and 3 proofs of residency. That's it.
Coming in February, there's going to be new pay-by-plate public parking. And that means when you put money in the meter to pay, you will also put in your license plate number, and you will automatically, you don't have to go back to your car for anything. And if you move your car and you stay in the same zone, you don't have to worry about putting more money in the meter. If you want more information about this, you can go to the city website, and it's cityofasburypark.com/pay-by-plate. And secondly, there is going to be a citywide event, Asbury Park Alive, that's being sponsored by the Alliance for a Healthier Asbury Park, and they're looking for sponsors. The event's going to take place on May 4th, and the last day to volunteer to be a sponsor is February 15th. So the person to contact is Nina Summerlin, and if you will call the city, we have a number for her or an email address. But this is going to be a citywide event. We're going to be closing 1.5 miles of city streets, and it's an activity that is designed to bring the city together and to share healthy ideas and have fun, and there'll be entertainment. It's going to be a great event. So if anybody is able to sponsor, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
As you know, Monday was one of the coldest days of the year, and school was closed. And I want to give a big shout out to a crossing guard, and I'm not going to call her name. Can I call her name out?
Yeah.
Tamika York, I believe. This lady was supposed to be off, but she knew it was a basketball game, and she knew that the kids would be going to the basketball game. And she was out there in the cold, so our crossing guards is doing a good job, and I want to just recognize her. February 1st. Everybody in here like to dance? Anybody in here like to dance? Raise your hand. Okay. Asbury Park Recreation Committee is putting on Let's Dance, meaning that it's going to be at the Senior Center, February the 1st, from 7:30 to 11:30. It's going to be basically R&B from, I guess, from the decades. It's going to be a nice time. So There's flyers out. We ask you to pass the word and participate in it. And it's also free this time. Thank you.
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
Matters by the city attorney?
I have nothing at this time.
At this time, we will break until 7. Good evening, I'm calling to order the City of Asbury Park Council meeting. Councilmember Chapman?
Here.
Councilmember Clayton? Here. Councilmember Kendall?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Here.
Mayor Moore?
Here.
Please rise for a silent prayer, moment of reflection, please. Flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. The annual notice was forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Coaster, and the Star Ledger on January 2nd, 2019, and posted on a bulletin board the same date. All notices are on file with the city clerk. At this time, can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public, please?
Move it.
Second.
Any member who wishes to speak, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and each member has 3 minutes to speak.
Ernest McNully, 400
Can't hear
Deer
you.
Lake Drive, Asbury Park, New Jersey. I rushed up to be first because I have to leave for here and go to the Long Branch Council meeting. So here I am. That took 15 seconds. So let me start off by saying, last week after I spoke for 3 minutes, it's my opinion that the city manager, in conjunction with the council, proceeded to make a lot of allegations, unsubstantiated, by the way. So just to let you know, I'm looking for the recording, which is not up yet. I hope it's going to be up, because tomorrow I have an appointment with my lawyer. We're going to start reviewing that. And if you think that I'm going to stay here and pay taxes and be a citizen, and some out-of-town officials that you put on there are going to lambaste me in public, it's not going to happen like that. And I mean peacefully and lawfully, just so that you know. There's a minute. Okay. Now, there's a couple of things also I want to mention. Number 2, this thing about cutting off citizens without ever going to court, without ever a complaint, without ever an injunction, without ever anything, we're not in Venezuela. You can't do that. I can't call the police. I can't email the police. I can't email the fire. I can't email the anybody. I'm blocked, right? Now, fortunately, we have a nice mayor who at least willing to communicate with me. But Mayor, I don't want to communicate, personally through your, that's the only reason. But anything that says City of Asbury, I'm blocked. Now, they can't do that, but they're doing it. And if you look at the history of this city, one of the comments that the council, the city manager made to me was that, whoa, Mr. McNully, you're creating a toxic work environment. Mr. City Manager, you are the master of creating the city toxic environment. There are more lawsuits floating around this city. I just have a neighbor who worked for this city. He just sued the city for the 13th time and won. Okay? Why? Because of personnel problems, management problems, top-down problems, police chief problems, city manager problems, et cetera, et cetera. So for anybody to say that we're creating the problem, it's just a smokescreen. We got nothing to do with it. This is a group that sold the post office. Will they tell you about that? No. Am I right, Mr. Council? You sold the post office for $1,600 in sewer tax. Who does that? That's my speech. I don't have too much voice left. I thought I'd save it for you, Mayor. Any comments?
When you're done.
No, because I like when you invite people out to encounter me. You say, I got a badge. Take it outside with. Stop trying to start me into altercations. I'm a peaceful guy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That tax thing was mistakenly sold. And it wasn't sold, it was collected. But
John, you think you should clear that up now? About the post office?
I wish we could get the post office back.
Hi, good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank the council for...
Name and address first, please.
I'm sorry, Catherine Murphy, 510 Deer Lake Drive. I'd like to thank the council for the design charrette at the middle school. It was a great night. It was nice to see so many good ideas out there, and we look forward as a community to seeing what that resolution looks like, and hopefully in the near future. Michael, I wanted to ask you specifically when we might expect 7th Avenue beach access to open up, and has iStar signed the letter of indemnity?
Is there anything else? Because
That was one of my questions. Then I was reading through the packet about the abandoned properties, and you know, being semi-new to the council and all of the statutes and the regulations in the community, I just had a couple questions about that. Yvonne spoke to me a little bit about it, but what are the differences between abandoned properties, vacant property registrations, and then the creditor responsibility ordinances? What are the functions and purposes of each of these, which I think I understand, and what I'd really like to know is how much money is collected for these vacant property registration fees under this ordinance. Finally, the last question is, once the boardwalk, there is a resolution for the boardwalk, it's my understanding that there has to be an amendment to the waterfront redevelopment plan, then new plans are drawn, and then they're submitted to CAFRA for a modification. So, is that correct? I'm done.
we're meeting with iStar tomorrow to talk about access. We have an idea. We've been floating ideas with them back and forth, just informally, of how to get some of those accesses open. The engineer has looked at it from our side. They'll be at the meeting tomorrow. So hopefully we can have something just greater than that area and just open it up and clean it up. Some resolution to that tomorrow. We're meeting tomorrow with them at 10. For the boardwalk plans in CAFRA, what happens is if the language is different, which we're assuming it's going to be, yes, the plan has to be amended. That would be done by ordinance resolution, sending it to the planning board, up to 45-day planning board review. Back here, simultaneously, we hope to be getting some sort of approvals from CAFRA, if we know what the final design is going to be, which again, we're talking tomorrow. So you're looking at probably April, May-ish to have all the working documents in place, if best case scenario.
Yeah. Okay,
But again, we're meeting tomorrow with them to go over that process.
My understanding, may I finish?
Mhm.
My understanding is that that process, the TRC, this council, the planning council process for approval of a project that, for the boardwalk, that was not relevant. So you're saying that that is indeed the process?
TRC, no. But the process to amend the plan, yes, it always has, we've always said it had to be done. Because the language of the plan says meandering boardwalk, so say it changes that it says meandering boardwalk starting at 4th Avenue, which we know is not gonna happen, but we're just making it up. Yes, the plan would have to be amended. So anything that's deviated from what was approved, it looks like the plan is gonna have to be amended. And then we'll also have a CAFRA interpretation on that.
So it has to go through that 4-stage process?
It
Just
goes-
like
it comes-
any project in the city?
The ordinance
is
gets,
what-
the ordinance gets introduced, and the same night there's a resolution to the planning board. 45-day review, comes back for second reading, because it's the plan. And then we'd also probably have to amend the infrastructure component report, which is a resolution. So it's a 2 or 3 month process.
Okay.
We're gonna try to find ways to speed it up, because obviously timing is a major concern, but that's what we're meeting with tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
The abandoned and property stuff?
Well, can I just make one comment on the boardwalk? So when we talk about the boardwalk and the replacement of the boardwalk, and as you saw with the charrettes, it's really about the entire north end. So it's not just, you know, rebuilding the boardwalk that we had before, or building it bigger, or building it smaller. It's about the boardwalk, it's about Fisherman's Lot, it's about dunes, it's about a meandering boardwalk, and it's about Bradley Cove. So I just want people to understand that these conversations are not strictly on the boardwalk. These conversations are about visions of the north end of Asbury Park. So that, I'm gonna guess, takes longer.
Right. I guess strategically, the boardwalk would be, you would think the boardwalk would come first. I know that it's all one big picture, but I guess I was specifically looking at the boardwalk piece of that picture.
Yeah, but when you look at the whole picture, then you look at the cost of the whole picture, and then who's paying for that cost of the entire picture. So just things I want people to keep in mind when we're going along in this process, that it is more than just the boardwalk. It's the entire north end. That's all.
If you give me 2 seconds. Oops. I was trying to sum the total of the vacant property. So with there's a state statute that allows for abandoned and vacant properties to have certain aspects done, whether it's receivership, community development corporations taking over through an agreement with the municipality or a private lender. The city's code is deficient in numerous areas, so that's what the changes are proposed. What the state statute lists numerous things that can and can't be done. The city's ordinance, which I think was written in 2014 or 2015, lacks some aspects of it. For example, you mentioned the creditor. Under the state statute, you have to explicitly state that the municipality is able to get inside of a home for someone who's a creditor / foreclosed. The city's ordinance is delinquent in that. So if someone is on the vacant property list, and they're foreclosed, there's a creditor, we actually can't get into the building legally now. This is actually going to cure those deficiencies. The proposed ordinance, which I believe online actually has the track changes, was reviewed by the city's Affordable Housing Coalition and the Housing Community Development Network of New Jersey, which is the organization that's a nonprofit organization doing housing and development throughout the state. So they write these ordinances for other municipalities. So if you look and you see where we're adding things and subtracting things, it's based upon the actual state statutes. We went state statute, yes, state statute, yes. For example, the city didn't authorize residents to be placed onto the list. That's actually permitted under the state statute, and there's a process. So we wanted to make sure that we outlined the process for receivership better, for creditors better, for public participation, public transparency better, as we move along with this. This process started probably in October when we were looking at the renewals. I have the sheet up of what the cost was, but it's not letting me sum the totals, how much has been brought in. Sorry about that. But if you open the sheet, we can send you the Excel sheet of it. So this actually brings it up, everything up to state code, because it was woefully inefficient.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Motion to close.
Move it.
Second.
We'll move on to minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes this evening. We have executive session minutes of January 9th, workshop minutes of January 9th, and regular session minutes of January 9th. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes, please?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Consent agenda. Resolution 2019-59, resolution approving special event applications. 2019-60, resolution to waive interest due to error in pilot adjustment billing for 1501 Ocean Avenue, Unit 2204. Resolution 2019-61, resolution authorizing the submission of acceptance of grant applications for the 2019 Cops and Shops College Fall Initiative and Summer Shore Initiative. 2019-62, appointment of Business Advisory Committee, and 2019-63, rejecting bids for the 2019 printing services. Does anybody wish any of those resolutions to be pulled from the consent agenda? Hearing nothing, can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Individual resolutions, resolutions 2019-64, resolution amending a temporary budget appropriations for 2019 budget. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Comments or questions? Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-65, resolution approving payment of bills. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
No.
Resolution 2019-66, resolution awarding professional services contract for appraisal services Evaluation to Ottawa Group. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-67, resolution approving waiving fees and as per the abandoned and vacant property code. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Comments or questions? Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-68, resolution authorizing change order number 5 for Springwood Avenue Park Professional Services. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Comments or questions? Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-69, authorizing the contract for extended warranty for the parking pay stations. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Comments or questions? Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-70, authorizing the appointments to the Public Arts Commission. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Comments or questions? Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-71, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Asbury Park acting as the waterfront redevelopment entity, authorizing the issuance of certificate of completion for 210 Fifth Ave Venture Urban Renewal LLC. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Comments or questions? Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Ordinances introduction. Ordinance 2019-2, an ordinance amending and supplementing articles and sections of Chapter 13 abandoned and vacant properties. Can I have a motion to introduce this ordinance, please?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Public hearing is scheduled for February 27, 2019. Ordinance 2019-3, ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Asbury Park authorizing the sale of certain property which is no longer needed for public use for block 903, lot 1.01 through for 1322 Springwood Avenue. Can I have a motion to introduce, please?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Public hearing is scheduled for February 27th, 2019.
Question,
Go ahead.
why? Why the 27th? Why not the 13th?
Because we've been trying to do that month unless there's an urgency. I can most certainly change it if the council wishes.
I think both should be changed, but this one definitely, this is a piece of property somebody's been trying to buy for like 3 years.
We can most certainly change it if the council wishes. That's not a problem.
And then the other one, do you want to change or do you want to keep on the
I
20th?
wouldn't change either.
Okay.
What difference, doesn't it cost us more money for 2 weeks?
Costs like $5 more.
Oh, seriously?
That's-
Then we should do all of them sooner.
well, we usually try to do them sooner because it
The
solves the
13th is
problem.
that special meeting, though.
What?
The 13th is the larger venue meeting.
So
Okay.
it also gets us $36,000
Okay.
quicker.
Alright.
We're selling a piece of property we can't use.
All right, let's do it then.
All right, ordinance 2019-2 and 2019-3, public hearing will be set for February 13th, 2019. On to public, second reading, public hearing, ordinance 2019-9, ordinance amending and supplementing section 4-15 entitled Street Performers of Chapter 4, General Ordinances of the Code of the City of Asbury Park, New Jersey. Can I have a motion to open this ordinance up to the public, please?
Move it.
Second.
Move to close.
Move it. Second.
Have a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-1.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
There being no further business, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Move it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?